A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Lanka. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
The country needs an honest political camp. A statement from the president. Petrol scarcity continues. Flash floods on the Telgamu Oya claims 6 lives. Search operation continues for 2 missing children. Senior Additional Solicitor General Dappulu de Oliveira appointed Acting Attorney General. Harsh penalties in China for disrespecting the national anthem.
Now the stories in detail. The body of a small girl who was washed away by a flash flood on the Telgamu Oya in Matale was discovered this morning. Police say they have recovered 6 bodies thus far following the incident. 2 more children are still missing.
As hope of finding the children alive diminished, the search operation continued, notwithstanding the heavy showers this morning. The Navy Special Task Force divers and lifeguards are participating in the search and rescue operation. When the water level rose, I asked them to come ashore, but they did not want to. When they were washed away, I managed to save one of them. This has not happened before. The villagers know that even cattle have been washed away by flash floods here. The group of cousins had arrived at the Telgamu Oya last evening to bathe in the stream. The group had visited the area to inspect ongoing construction of a hotel owned by them. They had also celebrated a birthday at the premises on Friday. Tragedy struck the next day. Both families hail from North Tandia. 40-year-old businessman Kingsley Ratnayaka, his elder daughter Vikuni Mandina, aged 12, younger daughter Hiruni Dilhara, aged 4, and the girl's grandmother M. Chandrakanti, aged 59, were carried away by the flash flood. The mother was rescued by an area resident. The body of the elder daughter Vikuni has not been recovered. The other family carried off by the flash floods were 38-year-old Lasanta Uduwarage, his wife Ruvani Dilrukshi, elder daughter Rishadi Vagisha, aged 12, and younger daughter Bimashi Vidusha, aged 7. Their 5-year-old son, who was not with them when the tragedy struck, is now an orphan.
Long queues were witnessed today at fuel filling stations across the island due to a purported scarcity of fuel. When News first made inquiry, the Secretary to the Minister of Petroleum Resources Development, Upali Marasinha, said the state has enough stocks of fuel to meet the daily requirement. However, petroleum sector trade unions contradicted their statement.
The situation arose as a result of insufficient stocks of fuel being supplied to filling stations since last evening.
There is an internal petrol problem in this country. Why can't the government resolve this? People are wasting time on the roads. This is incitement. They have petrol, but they are not supplying it. I have spent 3 days on the road now looking for petrol. I have 3 children. Is this how you govern a country? I am unable to travel to Matara.
There is no fuel in the motorcycle and I cannot go home.
We used up the stocks we received on Thursday by last evening. If we receive more supplies, we can issue fuel.
However, sufficient stocks of fuel were distributed to some filling stations across the country.
There is plenty of fuel in Anuradhapura. There is no problem.
There is plenty of fuel at our station. However, because people are hoarding fuel in panic, the stocks may run out by this evening.
There are boards everywhere saying no fuel. There is plenty of fuel at our station. We will receive a load tomorrow as well. We have about 6,000 to 7,000 litres.
What caused the sudden scarcity of fuel?
We have ordered a shipment of fuel from the UAE and this ship will reach Sri Lanka in 2 days. So there is no way that a fuel shortage will arise. In addition, we have reserves of about 90,000 metric tons. The usual daily requirement is about 1,800 to 2,000 metric tons. Thereby we have asked that they only issue the daily requirement and to cease the unlimited supply of fuel. We can meet the daily requirement and people should not have ungrounded fears.
However, the unions sung a different tune. This was a deliberate action by the Indian Oil Corporation. They are attempting once again to unload a rejected shipment of oil. This is why the ship had anchored off the coast of Trincomalee. Sipetco's shipment was to arrive on the 2nd or 3rd of November. I heard the secretary say there is plenty of fuel. I wish to say this, if there are stocks of fuel, then our workers are bound to supply to the public day and night.
Preparations have been made to unload a shipment of fuel brought down by IOC which is unsuitable for use in vehicles. We hope the government will not allow for this to be unloaded in Trincomalee. The other ship will only arrive on the night of the 8th. If the fuel in that shipment is also substandard, then we will have a problem. Normally, by the time the fuel is pumped to Kolonava and distributed, it will be the 10th. So we feel that the fuel we have will not last until then.
Issuing a statement yesterday, the Ministry of Petroleum Resource Development attributed the current situation to the rejection of a shipment of fuel brought down by IOC as it was substandard. Furthermore, according to data from the Maritime Traffic website, which shows global shipping lanes, the ship carrying the cargo of the 40,000 metric tons of fuel ordered by Sipetco is currently in the Arabian Sea. Satellite images show that the IOC shipment of allegedly substandard fuel was near Tangol on the 29th of October and is now off the coast of Trincomalee.
Our attempts to contact the Subject Minister Arjun Ranatunga to make inquiries regarding the issue were unsuccessful. Speaking at a rally held in Aralaganvilla, Pulunnaru today, President Maithripala Sirisena called on the public to cast their vote for public representatives who dissolve fraud and corruption.
If the president steals, then those under the president will also steal. If the minister steals, then those under the minister will steal. It trickles down to the provincial councils, the Pradesh Sabha and the officials. Politicians cannot engage in fraud, corruption, theft and waste. Only by disavowing these things can a political movement become strong. Only then will governance be strong. Only then can we work with purity. As a government, we must move forward while protecting national resources, state assets and public property. This is why I have always maintained that we must carry forward a clean political campaign. Everyone must rally together to ensure its success.
Senior Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Dappula de Oliveira has been appointed as the Acting Attorney General.
Speaking to Newsfirst, the Minister of Justice, Talathathu Koirala, said the appointment was made as Attorney General President's Counsel, Jayantha Jayasuriya, has engaged in an official overseas tour. Thereby, President's Counsel de Oliveira will continue to be the Acting Attorney General until the 16th of this month. Senior Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Dappula de Oliveira, is the head of the legal team assisting the activities of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Bond Issuances.
A national program to provide land deeds to 3,000 families in the Mathura district was held under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe.
These deeds were gifted to 3,000 families who are residents of Deniyaya, Pitabeddara, Morawaka and surrounding areas. The income of the country is not sufficient to repay the debt. We have been in debt over the income we earned since the year 2013. A country cannot commit suicide. How will we repay this debt? How will we strengthen the exports? We need to repay these debts, and for that we need to earn. If we are to earn, we need to develop. That development needs to be swift. This development needs to capture the export market. If we do not obtain loans and repay the existing debt, the economy of the country will destabilize. We can now repay our debts with the income. We can use the surplus for development activities. It can be used for the budget. Since we cannot allocate all the financial requirements through the budget, we need to obtain more loans. We had to increase VAT in 2016. There were protests. We are now systematically increasing the income. That question should be raised with the Prime Minister. Deniaya has a picturesque environment. Everyone loves to go there.
JVP Provincial Councillor Nalin Hevage commented on the economy of the country during an event held in Gandhara, Matara.
The Colombo port is no more, nor is the Hambantota port or the Mattala airport. Same goes for the phosphate. What will be left of this country? The youth of this country will not have a country to set foot on in the future. This government obtained loans amounting to 120 billion. This is how they have built the country. They have reduced total welfare payment by 46,000 million. I challenge Ranil Wickramasinghe. Of the 32 economic indicators you have failed in 30, only 2 are positive. How can you say that the economy is stable?
Leader of the National Freedom Front, MP Vimal Veerwans, expressed the following views at a public meeting in the Walasmulla area yesterday.
There is no solution to the burning issues facing the people of this country. A mother in the north feeds poison to her child and commits suicides by consuming poison herself. Her husband too suffered a similar fate after not being able to repay the debt. This country has become a country where the people poison themselves. You saw how Prime Minister Ranil was standing during the national anthem. He is talking to someone else during the national anthem. How will a leader who cannot respect the national anthem protect the heritage of the country?
Joint Opposition MP Bandula Gunawardena arrived at a media briefing in Colombo today carrying a shopping bag full of goods.
The prices of goods and services are rising like a kite whose strings have been cut off. The cost of living crisis. Prices are increasing like no other instance in history. This tiny coconut cost 90 rupees of legal tender in Sri Lanka. A kilogram of big onions cost between 90 and 100 rupees. A kilogram of rice costs 100 rupees. The interest rate has increased like no other instance in our history. The interest rate has increased because of the central bank bond scam. No one even knows if there is a trade minister at present.
ආහාර සඳහා අපේ පවුලක ඔබේ ගෙදර වියදමේ
41.5% of a family's income is spent on food. 3.15% is spent on clothing and footwear. 23.74% is spent on water, gas and electricity. 3.15% is spent on healthcare, while 12.27% is spent on transport. 4.76% on communications, 2.6% on leisure activities and 3.23% on education. This is the weight that has been calculated. You can eat, drink and live without dying on less than 2,500 rupees.
කාලා බීලා නොමරි ජීවත් වෙන්න 2500ට වඩා අඩුවෙන් පුළුවන් කාලා බීලා නොමරි ජීවත් වෙන්න.
Here are some of the views expressed in the political arena.
There is a need in this country for a new political stage to oppose this government. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has been created to lead this movement. All of them have decided to contest with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna at the local government elections.
Basil Rajapaksa is 60% responsible for Mahinda's defeat. Now he is agitating with a flower bud.
The joint opposition has nothing to say. Let us see what happens at future elections.
Our true need is for unity within the party. That is why we have extended the arms of brotherhood even in the final moment.
I feel that the district is stronger than it has ever been before.
The joint opposition was clamouring for elections, but now they are rolling down the shutters and asking people if they want to contest elections as they drive past. They are begging for candidates.
Sri Lanka
While we are trying to rebuild the SLP, they are once again trying to restart the era of thievery. They say the party is weak and ask to join them instead. It is a lie. There are plenty of people. We have a shortage of thieving leaders. The math doesn't work out. If we face the test with that calculation, we will fail.
If the UNP and SLFP can form a government together and protect the thieves, if they can protect the corrupt and increase the cost of living together, then why is it that they do not wish to contest an election together?
A demonstration was held today in Pusalava against an individual purported to be a public relations officer for Minister Lakshman Kiryala. The protest was carried out against Ashoka Hera, the public relations officer of Minister Lakshman Kiryala. The protesters chant that the public relations officer does not allow the public to meet the minister and he only gives opportunities for election nominations to those who are personally associated with him.
We have been greatly affected by the conduct of this minister's public relations officer Ashok Herath. As a result, we are unable to meet with the minister and explain facts. This individual known as Ashok Herath, who has no decency, has caused the UNP to have a setback in Pusalava. He leveled threats against me on several occasions. I have lodged complaints with the police.
Meanwhile, yet another protest was organized at a separate location in Pusalava in support of the said individual. Residents of Henamula and Kurunagala say they are facing severe hardships due to the construction of the Central Expressway, ignoring environmental reports.
The second phase of the Central Expressway from Meeligama to Kurunagala is currently under construction. Area residents claim that environmental edicts have been flouted as construction crews cause noise pollution exceeding the maximum decibel levels. They say the use of explosives to demolish large rocks has caused the walls of their homes to fracture.
There is no compensation. We will be forced to beg. Why are they doing this to us? We are only asking for what we are due. Our needs are not unreasonable. When they drill, the noise is unbearable. Our homes vibrate. The environmental reports say clearly that the people residing here must be relocated or they will be unable to cope with the noise. It could cause abnormalities for pregnant women. Children could go deaf, but there is no consideration whatsoever. When we go to the police, the SSP says it is karma and that we must bear it. Does the law only exist for the good of the big wigs? Is there no law to assist us?
Farmers in Henamula claim that the ongoing construction activity has had a severely detrimental effect on their cultivations.
Central Expressway Phase 3. Contract granted to 2 Japanese companies violating tender procedure. Loan obtained at high interest rates instead of state concessionary credit from the Japanese government. Decision to award the contract for 134 billion rupees when the engineering estimate costed the project at 123 billion rupees. One of the companies which has been awarded the contract is facing allegations by the Japan Fair Trade Commission for tender fraud. Won't projects of this nature that are embroiled in corruption further burden the people and the country? For your attention.
Tensions flared today at a meeting of the Lanka Tamil Arsa in Mulethu.
The meeting was held under the auspices of ITAC leader MP Mave Senadiraja and also saw the participation of MPs M.A. Sumantiran, Shanti Shri Skandarasa and S. Sivamohan. Journalists were not allowed to cover the event. Shortly after the meeting commenced, tensions flared. The selection of representatives for the branch committee had been delayed. Tensions flared today when the selections commenced. This situation arose because of the enthusiasm they have for joining the ITAC. Everyone wants to be members of ITAC. This is why the problem arose. However, our reporter noted that clashes continued between the two factions even after the meeting concluded.
The foundation stone was laid today for the 476th model village in the Udagandara area in Tissamaharama under the Samatha 7 housing program. The event was presided over by Deputy Leader of the UNP Minister Sachit Premadasa. Under the program, 33 houses will be built in the village that will be named Sahas Netugama Grama Shakti Model Village.
The new project is vandalizing the hoardings that have been put up to educate the public about the Udagammana program. When I build a bridge or lay a foundation stone, someone comes to vandalize it. This group had government power until recently and are now lamenting while being in opposition. What message are they hoping to give the public through these acts of vandalism? It means they will destroy all these projects if they come to power.
අපි බලයට ආවොත් අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ කුඩු පට්ටම් කරන දෙයක්.
The annual awards day of Gateway College Colombo was held at PMICH in Colombo last evening.
How do we prepare our children for this challenging future? We all have a role to play. As educators, as teachers, we have an important role to play. Even you have many challenges. And one thing that you will have to do, please, is to allow your children to explore whatever they would like to do. Gone are the days, I believe, where our parents wanted their children to be doctors, engineers or lawyers.
Students who excelled in their academic activities were awarded at the event.
At least 11 Saudi Arabian princesses and dozens of senior officials and prominent businessmen, including one of the world's richest men, have been arrested by the country's new anti-corruption commission. And in sports news, a friendly six-a-side softball cricket tournament was held today to foster fraternity among police officers of the Colombo City Traffic Division. The Colombo City Traffic Division defeated the Narayanpeta City Traffic Division to emerge champions.
The tournament worked off at Police Park in Colombo today. 25 six-a-side teams including Dematgoda, Bambalapitiya, Cinnamon Gardens, Fort, Mutawal, Grand Pas, Buralla and Vellavatta participated in the tournament. Colombo and Narayanpeta reached the finals with Colombo emerging victorious. The award ceremony was held under the auspices of Deputy Inspector General of Police Chula De Silva.
On the 5th of November 1605, an attempt to blow up the British Houses of Parliament and kill King James I was foiled when Guy Fawkes, one of the conspirators in the gunpowder plot, was caught guarding the explosives under the House of Lords.
Ever since the failed attempt to blow up Parliament, the 5th of November has been celebrated with bonfires all around Britain, burning effigies of Guy Fawkes. Having been charged with treason, Guy Fawkes and his co-conspirators were not in fact burned alive, but hanged, drawn and quartered. A salutary lesson may be for anyone contemplating a similar act here in Sri Lanka.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Have a great week ahead of you. Good night.